In this video, we're going to learn about factorization. So on this question, we are given an expression and we need to factorize. Step 1, we need to arrange in standard form. In standard form, we're going to have x squared plus 3x minus 10. You always need x squared first and then x in the middle and then a constant at the end. Step 2, we are going to apply the AC method. I call it the AC method. The AC method, we firstly list our A, which is 1. Remember our A is here. We list our B, which is 3. Our A is here, our B is there, and our C, which is minus 10. And then we're going to multiply A and C, which is 1 multiplied by negative 10, which gives us negative 10. And then we're looking for factors of negative 10 that sums up to B. So you're looking for factors of this that adds to that. Okay? Oh, sorry, let me go back there. So we're basically going to say factors of minus 10 that sum to positive 3 will be positive 5 and negative 2. Because positive 5 times negative 2 gives you negative 10. And when you add them, they give you B, which is positive 3. And then we can easily factorize this. Step 3, we factorize. So we're going to have x, you take this, you put here, so it's plus 5. And then this one, you say x minus 2. And we use this method because our A is 1. If our A was not 1, we can't use this part here. We have to firstly expand and group. You'll see as we go into the next questions. But if your A is 1, you can just transfer the factors into the brackets. Okay, let's go to the next question. 22. We're given y squared plus 5y minus 84. And we need to factorize. So step 1, since it's already in standard form, we can apply the AC method. Step 1, I'll say AC method. Okay, so remember we list our A, which is 1, our B, which is 5, and our C, which is minus 84. All right, and then A times C, we can all see that is going to be 1 times negative 84, which is negative 84. All right, and then we're going to look for factors of negative 84 that adds up to B. So that adds up to 5, and that is positive 12 and negative 7. When you multiply positive 12 and negative 7, you get negative 84. And when you add them, you get B. Perfect. And then now we can easily transfer into brackets. So that is step 3. Ne? Sorry, let me just say step 2, Step 2, we factorize. And since our A is 1, we can directly transfer into the brackets. So it's going to be a y in this case, plus 12, and then y minus 7. And that is factorized, ladies and gents. Okay. Now let's do 23. 23. We are given 8x squared minus 16 minus 28x. We need to rearrange. So to rearrange, we have 8x squared minus 28x minus 16. Now that is rearranged. And we can see that we have a common factor of 4. Remember, before we do any type of factorization, we always need to take the highest common factor. But I will choose not to take it in this case. For trinomials, I usually don't take the highest common factor. I take it at the end to make my things simple. You will see now. So let's see. We're going to do this. We're going to list our A, B, and C. So our A is what? It's 8. Our B is minus 28. Our C is minus 16. Then A times C will be 8 multiplied by negative 16. And that should give us negative 128 when you press it on your Casio calculator. And we're going to look for factors of negative 128. That gives you a B of negative 28. Ne? Sharp. And those factors is going to be negative 32 and positive 4. When you add negative 32 and positive 4 gives you negative 28. When you multiply negative 22 and positive 4, you get negative 128. Right. But since our A is not 1 now, we cannot transfer the factors directly into the brackets. We have to use a grouping. So we're going to split this into groups. So the first term, we write it the way it is, which is 8x squared. And then the second term, we need to split it into the factors. Ne? So we're going to represent the negative 28 as negative 32x and then positive 4x. This is still the negative 28, but we represented it in terms of factors. Okay? And then we have the last term, which is negative 16. Okay? Now we group them. Ne? The first two together, the last two together. If there's a plus there, so if there's a plus here, this sign stays the same. Ne? If there was a minus here, this sign was going to switch. All right, let's go on. So in the first bracket, the common factor we can see is 8x. So let's take it out. So we have 8x, and then we are left with x minus 4. And we can verify 8x times x is 8x squared. 8x times 4 is negative 32x. All right. And then on the second bracket, we have a 4 as a common factor. And we're left with x minus 4. All right. And then, ladies and gents, we have a common bracket there, of which we can take out. So we're going to take out this common bracket, this one and that one. Let's take it out. So we can see that we're going to be remaining with, okay, let's take it out first. So it's x minus 4. And then on the first term, remember this cancels. So you're left with 8x. And then that also cancels. So you're left with plus 4. But ladies and gents, do not show the cancelling because your work doesn't appear neat. So you should just know they cancel. And you're left with 8x plus 4. And usually there's a common factor in one of the brackets. You can see that there's a common factor of 4 there. I'm going to take it out. So I take 4 out. Then I'm left with x plus 2 in that bracket. And then x minus 4. You see? So basically, I just brought this bracket on front here, and then move this one at the end. All right, and that is fully factorized. Okay, so with trinomials, I usually don't take out a highest common factor until at the end. I just check in the brackets. If there was a highest common factor, you are going to see it in the brackets. Okay, let's go on. So 24. We have 12x cubed minus 31 x squared plus 20x. Then step 1, they say we need to, factorize, right? So step 1, Obviously, we can see that there's a common factor of x here, so I'm going to factor it out. So I'll say x, and then I'm left with 12x squared minus 31x plus 20. Okay, and then I'm going to ignore the x for now. So if we ignore the x and apply, so we only focused on this part now. Okay, let me do this. We only focused on this part now. Okay, we only focused on that part, but we keep on writing the x as we go down. Okay, perfect. But now let's do the AC method first. So step 1, I always just write step 1 here. I list my A, which is positive 12, my B, which is negative 31, my C, which is positive 20. And then I apply A times C, which is 12 times 20. Right? And 12 times 20, ladies and gents, should be 240 if you press it on the calculator. And then after the AC, remember, we need the factors of 240. That will give us a negative 31. So you look for the factors of 240, that will give you B. And those factors are basically minus 15 and minus 16. Minus 15 times minus 16 will give you positive 240, which is check. Minus 15 plus minus 16 will give you the B, which is negative 31. So our factors are correct. But because our A is not 1, we cannot transfer the factors directly, right? So we're going to rewrite this as x that was outside, and then in bracket we have 12x squared. We replace the B which with minus 15x minus 16x. This is still minus 31, then plus 20. Okay, and then let's see, ladies and gents. So now we're going to take out pair them. The first pair is 12x squared minus 15x, and then we have a minus here. It's gonna be 16x minus 20, then close bracket. Because remember I said if you have a minus here and the minus there, they will give you that positive. So minus times minus will give you the positive. So if you have a minus, technically the last signs are going to be opposites. If you have a minus on outside the second bracket, this must be opposite, so that when you multiply, you can always get back the original. Right. So now we can take out the highest common factors on each bracket. Our x outside is still there. Here we have a common factor of 3x. Let's take it out. We're going to be left with 4x minus 5. Then we have a negative on the second bracket. Our common factor is 4. Then we're going to be left with 4x minus 5. You can see here 4 is a common factor, and 16 divided by 4, it's 4. So you have 4x. 20 divided by 4, it's 5. So you have minus 5. And we can see we have a common bracket here, this one and that one. So we're going to take it out. So basically we have x, and then inside here we take out the common bracket out, which is 4x minus 5. And then we have 3x minus 4 remaining. And that is finito, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is 25. So on question 25, we have 6a squared minus 7a minus 10. Step 1, we take out, we do the AC method, which we list our a, which is 6. And then our b is negative 7. Our c is negative 10. All right. And then let's see. And then we multiply a and c, right? which is 6 multiplied by negative 10, which is negative 60. And then we look for factors. Factors that basically, when you multiply them, they give you that. When you add them, they give you the B. Ne? Sharp. So those numbers are going to be negative 12 and positive 5. Negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7. Negative 12 times 5 is negative 60. And because our A is not 1, we cannot directly transfer. So we're going to represent the B as the factor. So you have 6A squared minus 12A plus 5A minus 10. You can see we replaced the B, which is minus 7A, which is with minus 12A plus 5A. That is still minus 7A. So we haven't changed the expression. Okay? And if we have a plus, we can just group them straight away there. Because if you have a plus in the middle, you can just put brackets, because that plus doesn't affect. It's not like a negative. If you check previously, because there was a negative, I had to not put brackets there, but to rewrite it. Since I knew that this sign, let me use something colorful. I knew that this sign here will change, right? But if it's a plus, the sign doesn't change. So you can just put brackets on this step after replacing the B with its factors. And then the first bracket, the common factor, we can see, ladies and gents, it's 6A. Then we're going to be left with A minus 2. Then the second bracket, the common factor is 5. We're left with A minus 2. And then we take A minus 2 out as a common factor. In the first term, we're left with 6A. In the last term, we're left with 5. All right. And that is a trinomial. That trinomial is fully factorized. Now let's go to 26. On 26, we have 8 minus 6x minus 9x squared. Okay, so we need to rearrange. So we have negative 9x squared minus 6x plus 8. All right? Perfect. And then we need our front to be positive. Ne? We need this term here to be positive. So if it's negative, I'm going to take a negative out first. So we're going to have negative in brackets 9x squared. Remember, the negative just switches all the signs. So plus 6x minus 8. And then we have made our A positive. Ne? I always need my A to be positive. Now AC method. The AC method says I list my A, which is positive 9. My B, which is 6. My C, which is minus 8. And then I apply A times C, which is 9 times negative 8, which gives us negative 72. By now you should be able to get the factors. I need you to pause the video and get them, then resume. So the factors that multiply to negative 72 and add to positive 6 are going to be negative 6 and positive 12. Okay? If I get a negative and a positive, I prefer to write the positive at the end so that the second bracket, when I replace on the trinomial, doesn't switch. Ne? And you can see that negative 6 plus positive 12 will give you positive 6. Negative 6 times positive 12 is going to give you a negative 72. So now, because A is not 1, we need to replace the B, not and we can't put them directly into the brackets. We put them directly into the brackets if your a is 1. So we had a negative outside, then we had 9x squared, then plus 6x will be replaced with minus 6x plus 12x. That is still plus 6x when you add them, and then minus 8. Okay, then I'm going to group these two together and those two together. Right. And then in the first bracket, we have negative, then open. The common factor in the first bracket is 3x, the highest common factor in that case, right? Then we're going to be left with 3x minus, let's see, it's going to be 3x minus 2, right? And then what will be our common factor on the other one? It will be 4, right? You can see it's 4 there. And then it's going to be 3x minus 2 again. Then it's happy day. So we have negative. And then you take 3x minus 2 as a common factor. Take it out. Then you are left with 3x plus 4. And that expression is fully factorized. Now let's go to 27. Okay. On 27, they are trying to challenge us now. We have 6x to the 6 plus x to the 3, which means 1x to the 3, right? Minus 2. Yeah? And then, now guys, I need you to notice something here. Yeah? As long as the first exponent, when you divide it by 2, gives you the second one, this is quadratic. Yeah? This is quadratic. Because 3 times 2 gives you positive 6, or positive 6 divided by 2 gives you 3. If that is the case, we say this expression is quadratic. So all those rules that we have been using will still work here. But to make the thing simple, I'll just say let, to make it seem clearer, let u be equals to the middle term, which is x to the power 3, the middle variable basically. And then you can agree with me that this expression here can be written as 6, and then x to the 3 times x to the 3. Because x to the 6 can be written as x to the power 3 times x to the power 3. Plus x to the power 3, but there's a 1 there, minus 2. And then let's replace. You're going to have 6u times u, which is u squared, right? You're going to put u here and u there. So that will give you u to the power 2. So you have 6u squared plus 1u minus 2. Then we apply the AC method. Ua is positive 6, ub is 1, ub is positive 1, and uc is minus 12. Okay? Then now let's apply a times c is going to be 6, or minus 2, minus 2, right? And then your AC will be minus 12. Now let's get the factors. That will always multiply to negative 12, but add to 1. And that is positive 4 and negative 3. Positive 4 minus 3 is positive 1, which gives you the b that we're looking for. And then positive 4 times negative 3 will give you negative 12. Now because, and remember ladies and gents, I said I prefer to write it this way. I'll say negative 3 and positive 4. Now I prefer to put the positive at the end. Then I go back to my equation. I replace. I have equals to 6u squared. Remember, replace the b. It's going to be minus 3u plus 4u minus 2. Then I can put brackets here and brackets there. That's why I like to put a plus at the end, because it doesn't affect what happens on the next bracket when we put brackets, right? And then let's see now, ladies and gents. In the first bracket, we can see that our common factor is 3u. Then we're going to be left with 2u minus 1. And then in the second bracket, we can see that our common factor is 2. And we're going to be left with 2u minus 1. Then we can see that 2u is a common factor. So 2u minus 1 is a common factor. And then we're left with 3u plus 2. But you need to remember this, that we said u is what? It's x to the power 3. So it basically means that you have 2x to the power 3 minus 1, because you replace all the u's with x to the power 3 plus 2. Okay, so I replaced this u with x to the power 3, and I also replaced that u with x to the power 3, because we said u is x to the power 3 initially. And that expression is fully factorized because there's nothing common in the brackets. Okay, let's go to 28. So 28, I need you to pause and attempt. So we have 2x to the 8 minus 14x to the 4 plus 20. All right. So ladies and gents, here we can see that the middle term, which is x to the 4 and x to the 8, the exponents are double, right? When you say x to the power 4, you times the 4 by 2, you get 8. So this is quadratic. So you can agree that I can write this as 2x to the 4 dot x to the 4, right? That is still x to the 8. Then minus 14 x to the 4 plus 20. Then I'll say let x to the 4 equals to u. I'm going to use the u method again. Then I'm going to have 2u times u here. So it's going to be 2u squared minus 14. This becomes u. So it's going to be 14u plus 20. Make sense? Amazing. And then from there, we can apply the AC method. AC method is going to be, let's see now. We're going to have A as 2, B as minus 14, and C as 20, right? And then A times C, we can see is 2 times 20, which is 40, right? Then we're going to look for factors of AC that gives you B. So factors of 40, obviously that gives us B will be negative 10 and negative 14. In this case, negative 10 minus 4 is negative 14. Yeah. Now we need to replace the B with the factors, right? We have 2u squared minus 10u minus 4u plus 20. Here we cannot directly put brackets. We need to put them at the bottom. Here you have 2u squared minus 10u. If you have a minus, this other sign will switch, right? So this will be a minus because it was a plus originally. Remember, I showed you the reason. The reason is because so that when I multiply a negative and negative, I will still get that positive. And then in the first bracket, the common factor is 2u. So we have 2u, and then we're left with u minus 5. In the second bracket, the common factor is 4. And then we're going to have u minus 5. And then we can see that u minus 5 is now a common factor. So I write this u minus 5, and then we're left with 2u minus 4. But ladies and gents, you can see that there's another common factor of 2 there. Ne? So I'm going to take it out and put it on front. Then we have u minus 5. And then after taking a 2 in that bracket, we're left with u minus 2. Do you see it? But remember, u is basically x to the 4. Ne? Remember here we said u is x to the power 4. So let's take it back. So everywhere where I see u, I replace with x to the 4. X to the 4. And that is fully factorized, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Then let's do 29. 29, we have y to the 3 minus y squared plus 2y minus 2. Obviously here we're going to group terms. Since we have 4 terms, it's not a trinomial, so we need to group the terms, right? The first 2 terms goes together, the last 2 goes together. If it's a plus, I can just put it directly here. Okay, and then we can see that the first bracket, the common factor is y squared, and then we're left with y minus 1. The second bracket, the common factor is 2, and then we're left with y minus 1. Then we can see we're going to have y minus 1 as a common factor. Then we have y squared plus 2. That is remaining. And ladies and gents, that is fully factorized. Right. Then let's do the last one on this series. So question 30. We have x to the 4 minus x to the power 3 minus x plus x squared. So obviously, since this sign is a negative, I need to rewrite. Ne? You can agree we're going to have x to the 4 as the first group minus x to the 3. Then with a minus in bracket, positive x minus x squared. Remember, if we're taking a negative out, the signs change. The signs of those terms where you factored out the negative must change. So that when you multiply it back in, it will still give you the same answer. Okay, so in the first bracket, the common factor is x to the 3. Then you're left with x minus 1. Then you have minus. The common factor is x. Then you're left with, let's see, you're left with 1 minus x. All right. Now, I need you to check something. We have x minus 1 here. Here we have 1 minus x. So there's something we need to do to make the brackets the same. Ne? Because if you have 2 minus 1 and 1 minus 2, it's not the same thing. So if we have a minus, we are concerned. But if it was 2 plus 1 and 1 plus 2, you wouldn't worry because the order of addition doesn't matter, right? Addition is commutative in property. Ne? So what you're going to do here is you're going to say the first part, you write it normally. Now you need to switch the terms in the second bracket. So you change the sign here. It was a minus, you make it a plus. Then those terms will switch now. Okay. Then we're going to have x minus 1. Then we're going to have x cubed plus x. Because this is a common factor. Then you're left with x cubed plus x. But if you check in the second bracket, we have a common factor of x. So I'm going to write it there. Then the first bracket. Then the second bracket becomes x squared plus 1. And remember, here is sum of 2 squares. So we cannot do anything there. And ladies and gents, that's it with this video. If you found it helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and share with family and friends. Thank you.